Hi guys, it's Jill, and welcome to the Jet Real podcast. I forgot the podcast name for a second. I thought it was Equine Theory. That's what it used to be. That's not what it is now. But I am Jill. I am a psychology student and equestrian, chilling on a horse farm during quarantine. So this week, surprise, I don't really have anything to talk about because I'm in quarantine. No interesting things are happening. So instead, I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me some questions and see what you guys wanted me to talk about this week. So instead of having one topic, I am going to apologize for my cat scratching on the post that has a bell on it, and he also has a bell on, so sorry about that. Anyway, I am going to be answering you guys' questions, and I'm sure I will rabbit hole into some really interesting conversation topics. Fingers crossed. So let's get into it. Okay, friends, let's get into some questions that you all seem to have asked. And if you would like to participate the next time I ask, for your questions, you can either shoot me an email at jetrealpodcast@gmail.com and I will answer your question on the podcast, or I will do another Instagram one, so follow me, JETEquiTheory. But for now, I'm going to answer the ones that I already have. So, starting off, hot and heavy, what happened to Mac? For those of you who don't know, Mac was my retired racehorse project. I was going to take him to that competition. Ended up not going because I didn't feel that we were ready and I didn't want to push it. And he is this gorgeous, nearly black bay thoroughbred. And I love him with all of my heart. He's a fantastic horse. And currently, he is owned by my friend Tessa. She bought him, does positive reinforcement with him, and is truly one of my favorite people on this earth. I have so much respect for her. She's so young and so, just talented and full of passion for horses, and I couldn't have picked a better home for him, so... Sorry, I had to have agua. But yeah, so he is living his best life, chilling out, being a horse, and I saw on Instagram she got on him a few weeks ago, I think, or something. So, they're making progress, doing their training thing, and I know Tessa will always have his best interest at heart, so literally couldn't have been a more perfect home. I was so stressed about selling him that entire time. So, yeah. What I'm currently working on with Zoe. Okay, so if you were hoping for lightning round questions, you are at the wrong podcast because this is the ADHD/ramble/rabbit hole podcast. So, and this question, I can feel it coming. So, here goes. Lately, I have been more all over the place than I think ever before with Zoe. So as most of you know, the past year I've been doing positive reinforcement and have been doing exclusively groundwork. I think it has literally almost been 2 years of that, which is fantastic and has really strengthened our relationship. I have become a better trainer and, been more aware of my horse. I think our bond has strengthened and, I don't know, it's done wonderful things, and that education is absolutely priceless. So, yeah, and I really enjoyed it, but then there for a little bit I was like, I'm kind of tired of running around on the ground. I would like to start working towards riding and maybe a dash of negative reinforcement to help guide is not the worst thing in the world. So that's sort of what I'm trying. If I'm being completely honest, my past couple of rides have had predominantly negative reinforcement directed, and I'm not super thrilled with that, but I had a reason. So I just wanted to see how a canter would go. Her trot has been pretty good. It's been pretty relaxed and solid. But there was one day that I was riding her, and she offered a canter, and so I just wrote it out, and oh my god, it was horrible. It was so bad. And if you've seen my most recent YouTube video, Quarantine on a Horse Farm, which I highly recommend you watch because I worked really hard on that video, it took me so long to make that stupid video, and it didn't get any views. So watch it if you haven't. Please, 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 please. I promise it's a good video. One of my friends, who's not even a horse person, was like, that's your best video. So I promise It's worth the watch, I think. I even watched it in its entirety after spending like 3 days in like 7-hour sets editing it. So I hope it's worth your time. Anyway, so in that video, I talk about how I'm just really confused on what's going on with Zoe, because she offered the canter. I took it and I just wanted to like kind of ride it out and see like what it felt like, and oh my god, it was like riding a jackhammer. She was so tight and stressed, and like she's such a difficult horse to ride, because if you look at the footage of me riding her, which will never see the internet, never, and I'm only telling my podcast this because I feel like the people that actually take the time to listen to an hour-long podcast are like intelligent adults who or people, or if you're not an adult, you're probably more mature, because most small individuals cannot listen to a podcast. But anyway, you're probably more open-minded and willing to pay attention and listen. And so I'm telling you this instead of my Instagram following, which would be like abuse. So, but yeah, she just like, in the footage, she is so unbelievably behind the vertical. And if you're not quite sure what that means, it means her nose is almost touching her chest. It's very bad for her neck, her vertebrae, she can't breathe, blah, 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 blah. The problem is, if I let go of her, she runs very fast away. And so in the video, I'm referencing two specific videos on the 2 days that it happened. Because I was trying to change something to see if the canter would get better, because science. And so, hold on, I have to move my heating pad because now I'm toasty. I don't know why, but I get hot when I talk for some reason. I'm like freezing every time I start the podcast, but then I get talking and then I get hot. Anyway, so what was I saying? She gets so curled up, and it's like she's pushing super hard from behind, but then her front end will not like uncurl. It's like she's going 2 directions at once. She's going forwards and backwards at the same time, and it looks very awful. And my boss was out here, and we were trying to like figure out what was wrong, and she was like, it looks like she is cantering out in front of herself with her front end. She looks normal on her front end aside the behind the vertical, but then her hind end, she's just like hopping, and it's like her legs are pinging off the ground, just like ding 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 ding, and her front end is cantering, and it's, oh my god, I don't have words for how difficult it is to ride without banging on her back, because she's like popping me out of the saddle every time she does that. So I'm doing my best to sit and unlock my lower back so I can like stick with her and like just ride out that canter, forward and back. And but it feels more like forward on her. And so yeah, and I just like was like, maybe she needs her hocks done. She's so tight behind, and she's not cantering up under herself. And I asked on Twitter, because Twitter I feel like is full of OTDB people that like understand problematic horses, and so everyone was like, yeah, I mean, usually they like act like they're moving through sand and they're really sluggish, but my thing is like, I don't know if Zoe's hocks were hurting, I don't know that would be her reaction to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like she would be panicky. That's not to say that that's why she's being panicky, but I feel like if her hocks were bothering her, she wouldn't act like, say, a warm blood who looks like they're cantering through water. She would be more pingy. So it's possible that she's having some arthritic changes there, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm sorry, the mic is far away from my face. I'll move it closer so that you guys can hear. But yeah, so I don't know if it's that. I don't know if she's tight in her hind end. I would love to have a chiropractor look at her, but we literally don't have one that I'm aware of. I asked on Facebook the other day and I forgot to like check if there were responses. Oops. So I will be doing that soon, but our most recent one moved away, so to Canada. So I don't have a chiropractor currently to look at her, but I would love for that to happen, maybe a body worker. But that aside, one of like my most recent ride on her, I was just kind of like, I don't want to push it if she's having some hock problems, so let's try just like going for a bareback hack and just like hack her around. And say what you will, like maybe you shouldn't ride when your horse is having hock problems, but I'm still not entirely sure that was the issue. So I was like trying to isolate the variable. So I took my saddle off. It wasn't on because it was a new day, but, and I put a poly pad on, which is a really fluffy saddle pad, and a Matta's pad, which is a really fluffy half pad, like one of the nicer high-end ones that took me way too long to save up for. And then I put my bareback pad on. It's the Best Friends Comfort Plus bareback pad or something off of Amazon. It was like, it's between $25 and $40. I can't remember. I don't think it was that expensive. But I put that on, and normally Zoe hates bareback, but I've never put that much cushion on. And my friend Kane, who is Meyer Horsemanship on Instagram, they ride in I think a Lemieux pad, then a thin line half pad, if I'm not mistaken, and then I think we have the same bareback pad. So I was like, you know what? I don't have the thin line bareback pad, and it's a little awkward to have the Matta's pad because it has fleece on the top and on the back. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try it. And so I did that, and I had an entirely different horse. In the video, the video you can see in the quarantine video that I put up on YouTube, that footage is live because it is not as embarrassing. Still not great, and she looks tight, but is a completely different horse. She looks far less panicky. She looks a lot more relaxed and even, and yeah. And then of course, I had comments and people were like, she's off behind, and I was like, no, she's not. She's tight. There's a difference in being off and tight. Also, being bareback, I can tell if she was dipping, and she wasn't. And she's been off behind before, and it's very obvious. So yeah, I don't know. So that's where I'm at with her. And, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. My hypothesis is that, the saddle that I was riding in was my jump saddle. And in that jump saddle, my stirrups are short. So my calf is on her all the time because I've always had a very solid calf. So it's on her at all times. And I notice when I ride her that I try really hard not to touch her with my calf because she is super reactive off of it. So she's almost like trained me subconsciously to not touch her with my calf. And I don't ride any other horse like that. It's literally just Zoe. Oops. So I have to be conscious of that. And when I was riding her in that saddle, I was really trying to sit down on her and stay with her and not surprise her with my calf. So I was keeping it on, and she just got worse and worse and worse. And it was like trying to bottle electricity. It's just awful. So when I rode her bareback, I don't have stirrups, and my leg is just kind of hanging freely. And, because of my tendency to not touch her with my calf, I didn't have my calf on, and I had a different horse. And then I noticed that when I, at the walk, if I put my calf on to ask her to move over, she'd jump into trot. And I was like, oh, I see where we could have an issue here. So fingers crossed that that's the issue, because that's a training problem and not a pain problem. And I would really, 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 really rather avoid injections because I'm just not a fan. I would rather keep the bodies the way they are. I might put her on Cosequin or Adequan. I actually don't know much about Adequan. But I want to look into a joint supplement or something, because she's only 9. Yes. However, she did have she raced for a while, and, her racing career ended because she tied up, because she got tight. So we've made a lot of changes to her diet, but I still think that maybe some, added magnesium and some joint supplements could probably, benefit her. And then obviously she had the high impact career eventing. So, it's probably time to consider, helping her out a little bit more, with some joint supplements. So that's the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to keep playing around with it. I'm going to try and ride her in my dressage saddle and try to ride her in my bareback pad. And I think I might stay out of my jump saddle for a little bit until I can work through the calf issue and really make sure that that is the problem, and not my saddle fit or anything like that, or her hocks or her SI or any lameness, anything like that. So I'm going to try and work through that, and I may have our vet look at her when he comes out to look at some of our mares that are supposedly pregnant. I don't know. We just bred one of them, and then another could be pregnant. We don't really know. She came from a kill pen. She looks like she's pregnant, but who knows? So, yeah, anyway, that is that. So that's where I'm at right now with her. Like, my main issue is trying to figure out, like, what the problem is, like, whether it's my calf or it's a pain related thing. So, and I just want to be, like, clear that it's because, like, if I touch her with my lower leg, she, like, shoots forward. And if I work on it a little bit, you know, she gets better about learning to just move off of it. But I think I need to be a little bit more deliberate in my training with it. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with that. And the question said what I'm working with Zoe on currently. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, just trying to figure out those little nuances and seeing if, because, like, my goal is to have the happiest horse that I can. I would love to be able to just, like, I'm so envious. I'm so beyond jealous of people that can just go hop on their horses and hack around. Like, do you know how badly I would kill to just be able to get on my horse and, like, walk, trot, and canter normally? Like, that is such a low bar, and I hate that because it just seems ironic to me that, like, somebody like me, and I'm gonna hype myself up here a little bit, so just, like, brace yourselves, like, somebody that has tried so freaking hard to learn everything they can about animal welfare and training ethics and stuff like that, like, I just cannot seem to get a good result. And maybe I'm going too fast, maybe I'm doing this wrong, XYZ. It's so frustrating because there are people that literally just pull their horse out of a paddock, don't learn anything, and just go do it. So it's unfair, but life's not fair. So I just have a little burr under my saddle pad about that. That's the most Carol Baskin shit I've ever said in my life. I'm so sorry. Oh God. Anyway, I don't know. I'm irritated about that because it's like no matter how hard I try, it feels like I just keep hitting a wall. But we continue on. I promise everybody I'm not depressed or feeling down. It is really frustrating when I've had this horse for 6 years, and it's a little embarrassing too. Like, obviously I'm not, you know, living or riding for other people, but it is embarrassing when everything is on display like it is on Instagram and I just can't seem to have a normal fucking ride on my horse, you know? And if I like am like the video on my quarantine video, like a lot of stuff is cut out of that. Like, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't a great ride. And even the video isn't great. And, it's frustrating. But beyond that, what I'm trying to work on is, some, like, I want to be able to ride her bridleless at some point. You know, I want to work towards that. And, I really just want to work on having her being as calm and as responsive under saddle because she's happy and because she wants to. So that's what I'm trying to get to these days. And also on that note, I, went in and, signed up for, Mosey Truitt's Liberty Horsemanship, course. I think it's called The Liberated Horse. It's on her website, libertyhorsemanship.com. And I believe it's 50% off right now. It's $100 for the course. And I literally, like, I think I'm about a third of the way through it right now. Like, I'm gonna, like, rant about that for a second. This is not spons. I don't even think Mosey follows me on Instagram or anything like that. Like, she doesn't know who I am. But her podcast has been so inspiring to me over the years, and it's an incredible podcast. It's called In the Spirit of Horse, if you need another horse podcast to listen to. And you know, it's not always about horses. Sometimes it's just about life things, and it's so relatable, so incredible. Like, I really enjoy her podcast. And she mentioned that she started a course on it, and I was like, jumping on that. And it's 50% off right now, so I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And could not recommend it more to especially people that are wanting to get into positive reinforcement, because she goes through every single step by step, tells you exactly how to do everything. She's very open and honest, and it's so simple the way it's presented, and you know, just like very chill, laid back, relaxed. She does it all through videos. There's some PDFs and some slides and stuff, but for the most part, it's videos, and she's showing you, talking, and the filmography is absolutely stunning. It's super aesthetically pleasing, and Mosey's just awesome, and I really recommend looking at that course if you don't have anything to do during quarantine and have a spare $100, because it's really great. I'm doing all of my homework for school, and when I get done with that, I spend an hour or two doing her coursework, because I just I know about operant conditioning and clicker training and stuff like that. I'm no stranger to that, obviously. The first couple of episodes of season 1 of this podcast are literally all about that. But it is nice to just have a refresher and somebody's different take on it. The way she talks about it and the way she phrases it, it frames it a little bit differently, and it's a pleasant refresher. So I highly recommend checking that out. It's really re-inspiring me for some positive reinforcement groundwork type stuff, and I really want to incorporate it under saddle. I'm just hitting a wall and a half with that, so I will get there eventually. I know I will. And it's just problems of having a super intelligent horse. She's just doesn't put up with the bullshit. So I've gotta figure out how we can do it in a way that makes us both happy. So I think that I answered that question with 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on. How does it feel to be TikTok famous, you guys? I don't know if you know this, but I'm gonna do a quick check. I'm so sorry for that. I posted, it's in my video, my quarantine video on YouTube, that I posted this video, and it blew up. Right now, it's at 248.5 thousand views. That's ridiculous. So my first TikTok video blew up like that, and I love it. I think TikTok is so fun. You should follow me on there if you have a TikTok. I spend hours just dicking around on that app. It is so funny, and I like posting on it because it's no stress. Nobody knows who I am on there except for the few people that are oh my god, it's chill. But nobody knows who you are. You're just posting videos of ponies, and I mean, at least I do, because I don't have a life outside of that. And so I just think it's super fun, because you're not in it for the followers. If anything, it's more about views than followers, I think. And it's just for the sake of being funny, because you're not gonna make money at it, So I don't know. I think it's super fun. So how did I get myself back into a consistent schedule? I don't know that I'm the best person to ask about that right now, because it's currently 1:30 in the morning, and I will most likely be up until 4 a.m. So not the best person to ask, but I have been trying to get up at 10, and then I snooze my clock until 12. I'm so, I can't express to you guys how annoyed I am that I've been doing that. I would love to be able to get up at 10 and go to bed at least by midnight. And so then I can back it up to getting up at 8, because that's my favorite time to get up. Or I would love to get up at 7, but that's not going to happen. It would if I would commit to it. Whatever, it's fine. So I'm going to try and fix my sleep schedule eventually. But I just work so well at night. I just get so excited to do all the things, and then it's suddenly 9 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, shit, I did not go to bed. But I don't know. Right now, it's so tricky to explain, but in a nutshell, to keep it short so that I don't go on a 30-minute ramble, I just sort of got my passion back and my vigor for life back for some reason. It all hit me at once, and I was like, oh my god, I have so much shit I want to do. And so now I am tearing through my homework, reading books. After I get done messing around on TikTok and doing all the things that I have to do all day long, I'll go sit in bed and read for 2 hours until 5 a.m. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm not questioning it. I'm just hell yeah, let's go. So, I've been riding Zoe, I've been playing with the babies, I've been riding Maze when she has shoes on, because their freaking paddock situation is stupid right now because it keeps raining, and they suck their shoes right off. But I've just been messing with the horses and, reading and creating on TikTok and YouTube, and just posting on Instagram. I just have felt so alive again. And I really think I'm going to, again, try to keep this short because I already went on a 20-minute ramble. But I really think that these waves come in just that. I think they come in waves. And I don't think that, when you're not in a super inspired, creative, like high, that you should shame yourself for it. I don't think that you should be sitting there like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not being productive enough, which is so easy to do. The past year, that's what I've been doing. And finally, at some point, I was like, I just had to accept that, like, I'm not in the space right now. I'm just not feeling creative. I'm not feeling inspired, and I'm going to do the things that I absolutely must do. But beyond that, I'm not going to do anything because I don't want to. And there's no point in berating myself for it and stressing myself out and shaming myself for it. Like, there's no point. It's not going to help anything, and it's not going to make me want to be inspired or, do the things that I love to do anymore. If anything, it's just going to make me feel worse and keep me in that state longer. So as soon as I accepted it and just kind of lived in that for a little while, it was like my body was finally allowed to recharge. It was like, to put a metaphor on it, it was like you plug your phone into the wall, and then every time you realize that you're charging, you unplug it so you can use it. And then while you're shaming yourself, the unplugging, then, you run your battery down again. But when you finally like plug it in and just leave it and accept that this is where you are and that it's okay and that you just need time to rejuvenate, it's okay. You can be sad. You can be depressed. You can be upset. You can just be apathetic. You can just be. And then once that phase passes, then you're okay. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm super happy that I'm sad or upset right now. Like, obviously, negative feelings come with that, but don't also shame yourself for not doing the things that you feel like you should be doing. Get the things done that you absolutely have to. And beyond that, just take yourself seriously. Take time for you. Realize that's where you are. And then it'll pass. It always does. I swear, I want to get tattooed on my forehead. This too shall pass. It always does. And, now I've just hit this like creative upswing, and that's what it is. It's all a cycle throughout your entire life. It will always be a cycle of low swings and high swings. And sometimes the swing goes really fast and sometimes it goes really slow. And for me, this past year was so slow. I was in such a bad place mentally because of environmental factors and people factors and just a bunch of stuff. And then finally all of that was over. And then after it ended, I was like, okay, I should be good now, right? Wrong? No, I had to mentally recuperate. I had to do a lot of work and a lot of reflection, a lot of therapy, not because I was like losing my mind or anything, but because I just wasn't happy and I wanted to, figure out how I could take my life back. And that's what I did. And, there's no magic answer, but after you get through whatever your body needed to get through, then, sometimes you hit that upswing and then you're ready to go again. And then you can really appreciate it. Like now, I appreciate the headspace that I'm in so much more because of that downswing. And because like every time I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to do that. I'm like, God, this is awesome. Every time I'm like, oh, I really want to do my homework right now, or I really want to paint, or I really want to go play with my horses, or I really want to read. I like kind of pat myself on the back a little bit, which sounds weird to do, but I just recognize and I'm aware that that I'm feeling that. And so it makes you more conscious and more aware of when you do feel good, and then you appreciate it more, and then I think you live a more fulfilled life like that because you're like, yeah, things are really good right now. That was not the question, but that's what I talked about, and now I have gotten through 4 whole questions. I'm so sorry. This is why I don't do Q&A YouTube videos. So yeah, the rest of that question was after the unmotivated, inconsistent period with the horses. Yeah, I mean, I'm still not super like, just like dying to ride anymore. I honestly think that maybe that part of my life has passed. And I think that's okay. I talked about that in therapy a lot. Just like I'm holding on so tightly to the fact that like I was, a competitor and I loved to ride every single day and drill new movements and learn to jump new heights and blah, 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 blah. And now that's just not really what I want anymore. I just kind of want to be able to enjoy my horse and, do basic things. And that's been my goal. So I haven't really been riding many other horses. I ride Maze occasionally, but like I said, the weather's been bad and she hasn't had shoes. And there's kind of no point right now because she's like pretty set in her training and, she's a super incredible horse, but like we can't compete her and we can't, like show her to people because of the quarantine. So I'm not like super, like I need to ride her, So, there's that. Will I ever buy a second horse? Probably not anytime in the near future, because I currently am still reliant on my parents to pay for my current one, and they currently do not want to pay for her, so, yep, that's going well. I saw you used a bit on Zoe in your recent video. Have you started to explore bits for her? I think I talked about this. I think I talked about it in a few episodes ago. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure that I did, because I did, like, that little controversial Tack Talk episode. Yeah, bits, whips, spurs, and neck rope drama. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. So then, right after that podcast episode, I did number 10, how I'm going bridleless and why bits may not be so bad, I think. Why bits may be better than bitless. So listen to that episode for the entire rant, but essentially, I have, like, looking at the difference between bridleless and or hackamores and bits, biomechanically, hackamores exert more of, like, a backward pressure, whereas bits, the horse leans into the bit more, so it's more like a downward pressure, if that makes sense. So, yeah, and Zoe she curls so badly, and I don't want to encourage that with a hackamore. And I could encourage her to push into it, but it's a different kind of pressure than holding onto a bit, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, so I don't know. I can't get into that again. Listen to that podcast episode if you want more information on that. And on that note, I'm going to take a drink. Hold. ASMR. Do I plan to show Zoe again? Probably not. I'm just not really like I do miss showing, and that I miss, like, preparing for it and, like, all the hype and hanging out with people at shows and the hotels and stuff like that. Like, I always loved everything about showing, but the actual competition aspect of it, like competing, I never won anything. I was never good. And so, I mean, maybe if I, like, was winning all the time and just had all this talent and stuff to show off, then I would probably be more into it, but losing every time kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. But beyond that, like, I don't know. I loved running cross country, but dressage I hated, and show jump I also hated, so would I ever consider, hold on, I gotta readjust my grip on my mic here. Would I ever consider breeding Zoe? I have before, actually. Me and Sunny almost bred her, and Sunny was gonna foot the bill and everything. But I decided not to because I don't want to risk her. There are lots of things that can go wrong with breeding, and I can't risk my horse. And then, like, the day after that, we talked to a psychic, and she said that every horse on the farm wanted to have a foal, except Zoe said absolutely not. So I don't know that I believe in psychics and all that, but it was just a little bit too coincidental, and just confirmation biased me right into saying, yeah, we're just gonna not on that. What was my first pet's name? Are you trying to hack into my emails? No, thank you. You're not getting that answer out of me. I was raised by a cop. That's right. How much do I get paid to work, and how does that work out with you living on the property? I don't know. People are normally super weird about money questions. I don't really care that much. So I'm going to tell you. So I have to pay rent and electricity. Zoe's board is comped, or my rent is comped, whatever you want to call it, one or the other. But I get paid $9 an hour. I'm not salary. And so if I don't work, if I don't ride, I don't make anything. So it's just up to however many hours I spend working with the horses, or, cleaning tack or anything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not much, but I mean, it's pretty good. It's what, $2 above minimum wage here, I think we're $7.50 here. I could be wrong. But yeah, so it's not enough to, like, pay bills or anything, but it is enough to allow me to buy mac and cheese to sustain myself. How old am I? I believe that's in my bio, but I don't know why I bother putting it there, because nobody ever looks at it. I'm 21. In September, I will be 22. I have a 3-month-old foal that just lost its mommy. What do I do now? I feel like that is a vet professional question. Also, how do you not have anything happening for it right now? Dude, you normally get a nurse mare, no? Tricky. Okay. I'm not the person to ask for that. I would ask your vet immediately, like yesterday. How many baby horses are there on my farm? There are currently 2, but we have one mare who we think is about to go into foal. It's confusing because she's an old mare that Sunny rescued from a kill pen, and she looks pregnant, and she looks like she's bagged up, but it's April, and she hasn't like tried to foal yet. So we're a little bit confused. I think she's getting ultrasounded next week or this week. I can't remember, but it'll be soon. So we're going to figure it out because we don't actually know. And we don't know when she was bred because obviously she's from a kill pen. So potentially 3. And we also have a baby cow. If I could go back in time and start positive reinforcement from the very beginning with Zoe, would I? 110%. Like, no question about it. What to do when you're burnt out but horses are your job? I would do what I was talking about earlier. You know, I know how hard it is. It's so painfully difficult to keep going. But I would just do as much as you can, and you know, maybe write it down in like a journal to keep track of it, and maybe hype yourself up that way. Be like, look at all that I did today. I'm not feeling great and I don't really want to do this, but look what I did anyway, you know? You know, just maybe I'm such a list maker. So maybe make a list of all the things you have to do and then check them off as you go so that you can like see the, you know, progress moving. That really helps me when I work out. 'Cause like every single time I work out, I want to quit like immediately, like a third of the way through. I'm like, I'm done with this. But if I can see that I only have like, you know, 2 more sets to go, I'm like, okay, well I might as well, you know, I've already started it. So maybe do something like that. Or try and switch it up. Try something new. Maybe something that you haven't done before or you've been wanting to try. Maybe just, you know, see what you can do, or spend some time just hanging out with the horses. Maybe take a book, just like sit down and read and spend time with them, scratch them, bond with them, open your heart to them, and just like kind of just feel the moment, you know, instead of just like, okay, I have to go get the horse, ride it. Like, try and be present in it, you know, kind of a spiritual way, I guess, which is a weird thing for me to say because I've never said that before. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I hope that helps. What's my favorite part about working with foals? Oh my God. Like everything. Dexter is absolutely an angel. He's Dixie's foal. He is just a saint. Like, I can walk up to him while he's laying down and scratch him and I'll lay with his head in my lap. You can scratch his butt. You can brush his legs. You can touch all the way down all 4 of his legs. You can touch his face. You can scratch his chest. He doesn't bite you. He doesn't rear. He doesn't kick. He doesn't act like he's going to kill you. Astro, on the other hand, Astro is so bad. I love him because he's adorable, but he scares the dog shit out of me sometimes. Like, because, okay, usually baby horses are like the size of a dog, right? No, not these. Freaking, I'm 5'8", okay? And Astro's back comes up higher, like his withers come up higher than my belly button. So that's over 3 feet tall. And then his head, like when it's all the way up, is like almost directly under my chin. Like, he's huge horse. Like, so big. And he's like 2-3 weeks old. It's stupid. It's so dumb. And he is just a wild child. He wants to play so badly. And the babies haven't started playing with each other yet because Astro's a little bit more independent from Ghosty. But Dixie and Dexter are like inseparable. Like, they're always right next to each other. And Dixie's not a huge fan of Astro, so they haven't really started playing much yet. But it is so annoying because every time I go out to play with him, he rears up and bites and does all sorts of fun things that we are working on. But it's a little frightening when you have a huge, very powerful, dangerous baby doing stupid shit. So, yeah, I've had to be a little bit more careful with Astro. But in the stall, he's wonderful. He's absolute pleasure. They're both learning how to lead really well. They both have halters on and are the smartest little babies ever. And they're so chill because they're warm bloods, and I love it. I love it so much. Do I enjoy training younger or older horses? Younger for the most part. I mean, I don't have a problem with older horses or anything like that. But I do love the, like, resilience of young horses. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of, like, foals, though. I, like, prefer 3 and up. Like, the foals are a little bit... I like somebody else to have already done all the work. But, you know, honestly, that might just be because I've never done it before. Like, these are my first foals that I've ever dealt with in my entire life. So it could just be, like, my ignorance showing that I don't like things that I'm not good at. So, and I've worked with tons of green ones, you know, that are, like, 3 and up. What is my plan after I graduate? I should graduate in May. On May 4th. Oh my god, that's so soon. Wow, that's crazy. That's like, what, 20 days from now? Holy shit. That's, oh my god, I'm hype as fuck now. That's so lit. Okay, anyway, I will then be going into Henderson's master's program for my master's in clinical mental health counseling, which I am so excited for. I'm so excited. I'm taking 2 classes in summer 1, 2 classes in summer 2, and then 2 classes this fall, I believe, unless I can do more. I will see if I can pester them into that. But yeah, so I'm so hyped for the master's program because it's going to be like highly specific to what I want to do. Because like undergrad is great and fun and fine, but there's only so many times I can learn about, you know, oh my god, what is his name? Erickson's stages and whatever. Like, I'm so beyond overhearing the same stuff over and over again, and I would like to learn how to apply it and learn the theories, you know, instead of just like the people and, you know, basic stuff. It feels so like general, and now we're getting into more specific, and my best friend's already like really deep into it, so I've been like getting to live a little vicariously through her while she learns all of it. And I'm like, ugh. And then I spend all of my free time listening to the Psychology in Seattle podcast. So like literally anytime I'm riding, cleaning my house, doing something where I can listen to a podcast, I'm listening to the Psychology in Seattle podcast, learning about therapy techniques and listening to Kirk Honda's opinion on things like that. It's just so fascinating to me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm very nerdy and geeky about psychology. So it's definitely my field. Do I have any strong opinions on Clinton Anderson? Excuse my French, not that I haven't been swearing this entire podcast episode, but he's a mad fuckhead. Like, he's so abusive. Like, there's no other words. It's just abuse. And normally I would not be so like crass about a trainer, but oh my god, like that man is just like, let's beat them into learned helplessness, please. I cannot stand it. I hate it. What is my go-to poor college kid meal? So I have recently found these mac and cheese microwavable things. It's by the brand Devour. You can find it at Walmart or at Dollar General, except for in Arkansas, because I live here and I will buy them all. You're not allowed to touch them. And they're so tasty. I think they're like $2.50 a box, which is a little expensive, but for one meal, but it's fine. But then it's like, my favorite is the Alfredo one, and then it has bacon and breadcrumbs in it. It's so tasty. And the brand is Devour. I don't know if I said that. And then they also have sharp cheddar, and it's incredible. I haven't been able to find it for like, I don't know, 5 days, and I'm like dying because I don't know what to eat other than mac and cheese. Which is also lit because I'm lactose intolerant. I don't know why I'm doing this to my body, but it's fine. What are my opinions on clipping muzzles, ears, and fetlocks, etc.? As far as I know, fetlocks aren't really a huge deal. I know that hair is there to like help drain the water so it stays out of their hooves. At least that's what I read when I was like 12. But I trim it just on Zoe specifically because she has super long ergots, like the little nubs on the end of their fetlock. So it doesn't really matter if she has hair there or not. Like, it's gonna drip off anyway because they like extend past her hair, which is gross. But she's, you know, a hybrid. She just hasn't lost that part of her evolution. She's got a toe. But yeah, so, I mean, that's not really a big deal to me. Ears I never really got behind because I have yet to meet a horse that likes having their ears clipped. I mean, I'm sure there are horses out there, but like, they all seem to be a little bit irritated. Everyone that I've irritated, lol. But I never understood it because in the winter I'm like, ow, cold. And then in the summer I'm like, keeps the bugs out. So, you know, the hair's there for a reason in my opinion. So I just leave it. And then as far as muzzles go, I absolutely do not clip muzzles anymore. I used to, full disclosure, but we don't clip any muzzles out here. It's illegal in other countries, and horses are blind there. Like, you know, I mean, there are plenty of arguments for and against, but in my opinion, the horses they can't see there, and it's just kind of a dick thing to do, to just make them bump around until they, you know, find the ground or whatever, when they have hair there that's specifically designed to prevent them from banging their faces on things. So, I mean, and you can say, well, my horse is fine without it. I use that argument too, whatever. Like, do what you want. But I think it's more humane to leave them. Have I heard of / listened to the Heart of Horsemanship podcast? I have not. I'll look into it. Tips to stay motivated to do schoolwork during quarantine. P.S. Love you and your beds. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Sam. I can't read your actual name, but Sam, I'm assuming. I would say make a list of things that you need to do for that week. If you have access. Like in college, we have syllabi, so I know what I have to do for the rest of the semester, and I've already made like 7 lists. And I have a planner because I'm anal that way. But organizing like that helps you stay on top of it. And like I said earlier, you can check things off, feel accomplished, maybe set out a time to do it. Like I try to get 90% of my work done on Monday unless it doesn't open until later in the week. That way I have all week to do anything else that I want to do. So it's kind of like a little delayed reward. You know, if you spend a whole day doing stuff you don't really want to do, i.e. schoolwork, then the rest of the week you can do things that you want to do if possible. Ways to get your horse to load on the trailer better. She's had bad experiences before I load her. I would use positive reinforcement and clicker training. There are plenty of videos out there. I would specifically look for positive reinforcement ones though. The ones, you know, where you're like swinging a whip behind them, beating them into the trailer is not going to create a positive experience, as I'm sure you can imagine. And that's not what you want. You want your horse to enjoy the trailer. So I would look up positive reinforcement tutorials on it. There's a great book called, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm totally blanking. Hold. It's by Elise Mucken Sturm? I believe she's French. Ruins my brain. Humane Science-Based Horse Training, Introduction to Learning Theory and Exercises for Everyday Handling, Care, and Fitness. It's on Amazon. It's $22.07 in my part of the world. She has an entire section on how to do it, and it's very thorough, very well done. Elise is great. Highly recommend looking into that. But like I said, there are also plenty of videos out there if you don't want to buy a book, but that book is great. But yeah, I know Adele Shaw, the Willing Equine, has, I think she has videos up on it. If not, there are probably articles on her website on how to do it. I'm sure she has posts all over her Instagram. Very talented at that. Adele is, so she'd be a great resource to reach out to. Or you could take lessons from her. She would be happy to help with that. I know she would. How did I find the barn that I currently work at? I believe I talked about that in an earlier episode about like how I got my job and whatever. So for more information, you can listen to that. But essentially, I knew Sunny because we rode together under the same trainer. Tips for working with foals. I will let you know after I figure out if what I'm doing is successful. I am winging it and will be furthering my education on it soon. But I've been very busy with schoolwork and haven't had a time to look into it. So I'm kind of just like guessing right now based on what I know about learning theory, using lots of scratches and only rewarding behavior that I like. So that's what I'm trying to do. Is the farm I live on doing anything different because of COVID? Not really. None of it, like, our lives really haven't changed. We live in rural Arkansas. Like, we don't really interact with a bunch of people anyway. And this isn't a boarding barn. So, it's literally just me, Sunny, and the 2 people that work here to feed. And the guy that, like, mows and stuff. So, I mean, it's literally just us, and we don't really interact with a ton of people. Arkansas hasn't even instituted social distancing because it's a rural state. Like, so, is what if. If I wasn't into horses, would my life be drastically different? So different. As I just said, I'm literally just sitting on, like, I think outside of, like, Walmart and Jimmy John's employees, I haven't, like, spoken to another person that hasn't been through a phone in about a week. So, if I lived in an apartment complex or on campus, you know, like normal college students, then I would probably be hanging out with people a lot and partying and drinking and doing lots of other normal human things. And I'm just not. And that's never been who I am. I've always been more of an introvert. Also, I just want to say a quick thing. This is really off topic, but I just want to say that a massive pet peeve of mine is when people say that they are an introverted extrovert. It's not a thing. My therapist pointed this out to me because I too said it once. I said I was an ambivert because I thought that was a fun word that I learned on BuzzFeed. It's not a thing. You are either, like, introvert and extrovert doesn't mean that you can, like, function in social situations or not. Introvert means that you are usually drained by people. Like, after you hang out with a big group of people or whatever, you, like, need some time to yourself to rejuvenate. Extrovert means that when you hang out with people, you're really energized and you feel, like, alive and you just want to keep going and you don't need that, like, recoup period. That's the difference. Introverts can, you know, be bubbly and want to interact and be social. It just means that they need downtime. Okay? So, everybody that keeps saying that they're an introverted extrovert or an introvert who's extroverted sometimes, stop saying that. It's not a thing. Okay. Now that I've addressed large pet peeve of mine, I will keep going. Oh my god. I'm trying to find some good questions here. Biggest challenges through showing. I really think my horse's welfare. She was so stressed and uncomfortable the whole time, and trying to figure out how to continue competing while that was happening was really difficult. I just got light years closer to the mic, and I hope that helps because I can see the wavelengths got a little small there for a second. What made me choose psychology as a major in college? I was really interested in going into the FBI when I was applying for colleges, and not totally opposed to it, but I don't really think that's the route I want to go. I really do think I want to do, like, clinical mental health counseling. But if my life leads me there, cool, let's do it. But right now I'm kind of just, like, up in the air, seeing where things go. But I have always been in psychology. Like, I remember when I was, like, 14, I had just gotten my learner's permit. I was driving my mom to my middle school, and she was talking to me about, like, what I wanted to do, whatever. For reference, she's also a teacher, so, like, she would just then take the car to her school. But anyway, I was driving and I was talking about how awesome it would be if I had, like, a little log cabin and a pond and my horses in the backyard, and then I just, like, you know, therapized people out of my house and had clients come and we would just, like, walk around, talk to horses and sort through things, and how awesome that would be. Now, I will say, probably wouldn't do that today. I'm a little bit more paranoid. I don't think I would enjoy having people come to my house. But that was, like, something I wanted to do at 14. And then I kind of just, like, decided I didn't want to do that anymore for some reason. I just, like, forgot about it. And then I wanted to do, horse chiropractic for a while. I toured a chiropractic college, hated it, and was like, this is not, no. And then I was like, I want to do FBI. It was detective, FBI, cop, like, it went back and forth so many times. But still, that required a degree in psychology or criminology or something like that. But I wasn't really interested in crime. I just wanted psychology. And no, I didn't watch Criminal Minds. I actually just started it, like, when quarantine started. So I'm just now watching it. That wasn't why. But then, hey, can we stop moving the bowls, please? And then I decided I wanted to be a horse trainer and do positive reinforcement, operant conditioning, and all of that. And then I decided that I wanted to keep horses as a hobby, and now we're back to therapy. And that, like, now that I've actually been listening to, like, podcasts about what it's like and, like, considering doing it, like, I literally can't imagine doing anything else. It's so perfect. Like, that's just all I want to do. All I want to do is learn more about psychology, and, like, I feel like a sponge. I've been absorbing this information for 4 years now, or 3 years, because I'm graduating early. And, like, it's all I want to do. It was my favorite class in high school, and, yeah, this is my shit, you know? Probably getting, oh yeah, okay, I'm almost out of questions, and we're almost at an hour, and I try to keep them to an hour. How did I remember my jump courses at shows with my big brain? I'm kidding. What did I do? I really just, like, I looked at the course map and memorized that. Then I looked at the arena and then, like, pointed to jumps and, like, you know, did the course that way. And then I would watch a few people go, and then I would do it. And then, like, at an event, I'm talking about a 100 jumper show with that one, but at an event I would read the course map and then walk the course once or twice. Towards the end there, it ended up being like I would just look at the course map and that was it. Or walk it once. But yeah, so I look at the course map, walk the course, then you know, like, think about it before I go to bed. Then when I am warming up, before I go in to do my round, I watch the people before me go, and then my subconscious kind of just did it for me, and I didn't really have to think about where I was going. So not particularly helpful there. Why do I feel like I don't fit in with God? Is it because you can't get the Holy Ghost? The what? That question doesn't make sense to me. I apologize. I'm not really sure what you're asking. I would have to believe in the Holy Ghost to get the Holy Ghost. Yeah, I don't know. I just really don't, like, Christianity has never really jived with me. I talked about that a few episodes back. I think it was the episode called What I Kept from the Internet for Years or something like that. Something very clickbaity. Let me see if I can tell you guys which episode that was. What I Never Told the Internet in Dealing with Depression. Yeah, episode number 3. So I talked more about it in that episode, but essentially I am what you call a deist. I believe in the possibility of a God, but I do not know for sure, nor do I, you know, limit that to Christian God, Muslim God, Jewish God. I just don't know. I'm not really with any revealed religion, you know, where God has, like, talked to people. I don't really know. I don't know which holy book is right and true. You know, that sort of thing. Like, I accept that there is a possibility that there is a deity, but I don't know which one it is, and it doesn't particularly bother me that I don't know. I'm kind of just chill, doing my own thing, you know? And I live my life, you know, to be good and to help people because I want to, you know, not because I am afraid of going to hell or anything like that. And that's not to say anything, you know, negative about people who do believe that, but I mean, it is a bit different because people tend to look at atheists and deists as immoral bastards who just, like, live life for no reason. But yeah, I mean, I don't really, like, people always get tripped up on that too. They're like, how do you live? Like, how do you stay happy without a reason to live? Like, don't you need an explanation? Like, no, I am, I think, therefore I am. And so I don't know. I'm here doing my thing, and I want to live life to make me as happy as possible and to make the people around me as happy as possible. I want to give back. I want to help people. That's what I've been doing forever with, you know, the online community, and especially with positive reinforcement. I wanted to help people, at least bring it to their realm of awareness, so at least they could make an intelligent decision on whether they wanted to train with that or not, you know? So, I mean, that's just what I want to do. I just want to, like, absorb knowledge and learn and help other people and stuff like that. So I don't really need a religion to do that. And that's not to say that people who, you know, do have a religion need it or anything like that. But it's just like, I don't feel like I'm missing anything from my life without it. I feel pretty content. and I'm J chillin'. So I don't know. How to deal with mean girls / people who get everything they want and get you jelly. I don't know, because at the beginning of this podcast, I definitely did rant about how irritating it is that people can just enjoy their horses and I can't. So I understand that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that it's just a matter of realizing that your life is not their life. And if things are a little bit harder for you, then it's a learning opportunity. You know, if everything comes easy and you don't have to try, then you really don't learn much. You just keep doing what you're doing. It's the times that things are difficult and where you have to keep guessing and you have to keep trying new things that you learn more about yourself and more about the world around you. So take it as a learning opportunity. How to get into the equine industry / be successful / get a job. Good question. I fell into it because of networking, and I really think that's the best way to do it. I mean, if you know somebody in your area that has a barn and has a lot of horses, ask them for a job. Like, it's so difficult, and it's such a political thing too, especially in the bigger barns, but I'm really not the person to ask. I would ask somebody that has a solid working student position. I know you probably already told everyone, but why'd you stop showing Zoe? Because she was very stressed and irritated. Actually, originally the reason was because she colicked, and then she got very stressed and very irritable, and I realized she wasn't happy, and then I started doing positive reinforcement and realized that I will never go back to putting her in a situation where it's strictly for my gain when she's clearly unhappy and neurotic, because I'm, I want to show and I want to get a ribbon and have fun, and she's not enjoying it the same amount, keep choking, my mouth is so dry. How are the little baby pawns doing? They're doing wonderful. They're making me very famous on TikTok. And they're growing so fast. It's so scary. Are you single? And if so, how? Because you're so pretty. Don't say those things. I am single, and I have decided, and if you follow me on Twitter, you would know that I have decided that I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from boys. I can't do it anymore. My past couple of episodes, I talked about my love life and all the struggles and whatnot, but for now, I really just can't even entertain the idea of, talking to somebody and putting energy into it and then, worrying about it. I think it would just detract from everything that I'm doing right now, because right now I'm so happy focusing on school and ponies and talking to my friends and being creative and reading, and it's the introvert life, and it's not necessarily the most fulfilling thing in the world, but at least temporarily I'm very happy with it. And it's been a very long time since I have felt this way, because I was in a relationship for a year and a half, and then after that I was just depressed, discontented, and then in a series of unfortunate events, being really short, unsuccessful relationships. So I just kind of want to take a break, and I think I'm allowed that. I'm 21, I can do whatever I want. So I'm just gonna take some time and really appreciate what I've got going for me right now. And I don't need no man. I want a man. I want love. I want to be, happy and have a family someday. But for right now, it's just not really ideal. Also, I live in, excuse the language, bumfuck Arkansas. And my expectations have dropped drastically, for Arkansas at least. And also beyond that, to date somebody who is because at this point, I would either be dating somebody who has a job or who is pursuing a master's degree, because I will have been graduated. And I don't really want to date somebody who's younger than me in college, because different lifestyles. And so, it's tricky, and oops, I'm so sorry for bumping the mic. I was trying to cover my leg with my blanket. I don't know. And then somebody who's already got a job and is established probably isn't going to want to leave Arkansas, and I do not want to get stuck here. That is the last thing I want. I do not like Arkansas. I do not want to be here for the rest of my life. So I am trying to get the hell out of Dodge before I'm trying to meet somebody, which is scary, because that means I'm going to have to move alone. And yeah, I don't know. I don't want to live here. So I'm going to have to figure it out at some point. But yeah, that's my rant on that. I'm single. I'm also picky and annoying with boys. It's ridiculous. I'm a neurotic person, and it is a lot to handle. So, What am I studying? Psychology. Tips on dealing with a rude horse / teaching ground manners. Rude is not my favorite way to say that. I know what you mean. Generally, when people say that their horses are being rude, it's because the horse is coming into their space and doing behaviors that the human doesn't want them to do. But the best way to deal with a horse that is exhibiting behavior that you don't want is to reward behavior that you do want. And when the behavior that you don't want stops being rewarded, if the horse comes into your space and you move away and the horse wanted you to move away, then you're reinforcing that behavior. If the horse mugs you and is pushy, quote unquote, and you give it a treat, you're reinforcing that behavior. So what you do instead is reinforce the behavior that you do want. So if the horse moves its head away or backs up out of your space, you give it a treat. You tell them they're good. You scratch them or, move out of the horse's space if that's something that they're not liking. So a lot of what we do with horses all the time is just correct. The horse does something wrong and you correct them. You use negative reinforcement or positive punishment. You tell them that was wrong, but you never tell them what was right. So positive reinforcement is all about rewarding the horse for the behavior that you do like in the with the goal in mind to increase that behavior. So with what you're calling a rude horse, it's probably been unintentionally created by you, its previous owners, or the people around it. The horse is just being a horse. The horses are not rude. The horses are not antagonistic. They're not out to get you. They're not out to usurp your power or anything like that. Not that that's what you implied, question asker. But that's the general thought of most people, that, you have to put the horse in line. You have to be their leader. So, but that's not the case at all. It's just a series of reinforcements. So if the horse is doing something you don't like, don't reward it. But the caveat is you have to reward behavior that you do like. You have to teach the horse what is good behavior. Because horses don't come out of the womb knowing that they're not supposed to rear up and attack you. See Astro. So you have to teach them that that's not, the behavior that you want. So for Astro, me playing with him would encourage that behavior, so what I'm trying to do is when he's calm to give him lots of really good scratches that make his nose twitch, but I hate that our industry is in the way, and I'm not hating on you, Asker, but it is unfortunate that we're all taught and socialized in this way that, if the horse is doing something we don't like, we label the horse as rude or pushy or a dick or whatever. But in reality, the horse is just being a horse. He's doing the behavior that's always worked best for him. So instead of calling the horse names or, labeling him with mean adjectives, think about what you're doing to perpetuate that behavior. If the horse is running over you, are you telling the horse he's being good when he's not running over you? Are you doing your part in training your animal to do what you want? Think about like a service dog. Dogs don't come just knowing how to press a doorbell, alert you, fetch a beer. Like that, you have to teach the animal to do what you want. And I think we forget that in horse training a lot because so much of it is just force and push and pull. But it is your job as an owner, as an equestrian, to learn about training theory and learn how to communicate with a horse and how to train them ethically and efficiently. So, I don't know. I recommend that you check out Mosey's Liberated Horse course. That's what I'm doing right now. I paid the money and I am chilling watching it, and I probably won't be able to eat for a hot second, except for the things that are currently already in my fridge. At the expense of wanting that knowledge. So, I think that with that, I'm going to wrap it up. It has been an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm going to call it a day. You guys can find me on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Most of the above are JETEquiTheory. That's JETEQUITHEORY. My TikTok and my personal Instagram are jill.treese. And also, you can follow this podcast on Instagram. I post on that Instagram every single time an episode goes up. It is JetReal Podcast. And I also have a website. It's JETEquiTheory.com, same way I spelled it earlier, with lots of really cool resources for positive reinforcement and horse training, and ways to get in touch with me. So to that end, you may email me at jetrealpodcast@gmail.com for any questions you may have. Please let me know if you ask me a question that you want me to talk about it on the podcast, just so we're clear and I'm not accidentally airing your dirty laundry on my podcast. You guys send the sweetest messages sometimes. I'm so sorry if I haven't responded to your message yet. They tend to be very, very long, and so it takes me a minute to get to them and respond, but I promise I do read them all, and I will get to yours eventually if I haven't already. So with that, please send me questions and topics that you want me to talk about. I promise I will read it, and you're not bothering me. So get to it, get cracking. Please rate this podcast, give it 5 stars if you really enjoy it. If you don't rate it, because I want to keep that 5-star rating, you know? I don't need any negative feedback, okay? But yeah, let me know what you think about the podcast, rate it, and maybe soon I will read the reviews so that you guys can hear what you wrote. Maybe we'll do that soon. And with that, I will be leaving you guys. My Mac is on 5%, and we're going to call it a day. So thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good one, and stay safe.